Good morning, everyone. I'm Jeff Bruner, and I, along with my colleagues, want to welcome you and thank you for joining us for Taco Tuesday. This series will be held on the first Tuesday of every month. It's an opportunity to connect with our vendor partners and with you. The webinars, if you don't know, are going to be recorded, and then we'll share out the recordings as segments to allow viewers, members to learn about products and services that are of most interest to them in 15-minute bites. So the links will be shared to everyone who registered and will be posted on the WiLS website, including on the Taco Tuesday page and on the pages for the individual vendor partners. So we're very excited to welcome four special guests today. Miriam Gilbert from Rosen, Fanny Koutsovitis from Morningstar. I hope I've said that right, Fanny. Hopefully we'll get a chance. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Sherry Omernick from Mackin, and Jay Hess from EBSCO. So I don't want to spend any more time talking. You're not here to hear from me, so I am going to turn the presentation over to our first presenter, Miriam Gilbert from Rosen. Miriam, I've just sent you the activation to make you the presenter.
Okay, fantastic. Can you see my screen?
There we go. Yep. We're now seeing your screen. So here is our first presenter, Miriam from Rosen.
Good afternoon, or almost afternoon, everyone. My name is Miriam Gilbert, and I am the director of Rosen Digital, and I am really thrilled to be able to share some of our newest interactive learning resources with you today. My goal is to just highlight 3 of our new interactive ebook programs and show you how to find them, where to find them, and also we will be sending out through Sarah, Gold, and Jeff information about these resources so you can explore on your own. I'm now on the Rosen Digital page, rosendigital.com, and I'm going to talk about social and emotional learning and coding and computer science. What a combination. We ask ourselves at Rosen, why do we do what we do? Why do we get out of bed in the morning and engage in this extraordinary work of supporting educators and students? And we do it because it simply matters. Linda Darling Hammond, in her work on social and emotional learning, said the following: "I have no doubt that the survival of the human race depends as much on the cultivation of social and emotional intelligence as it does on the development of technical knowledge and skills." There we go, compassion and coding, coding and compassion. Most educators believe that the development of the whole child is the essential responsibility of schools, and this belief is what has motivated them to enter the profession. The Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction would agree with that because, as you likely know, there is guidance and curriculum that has been created for both computer science and social and emotional learning, K-12. And what I'm talking about are school resources for schools and that age population. So let me just begin with our spotlight on social and emotional learning. So I'm just scrolling down to where you would find some basic information about that on our site. And what we have created are interactive ebooks, an interactive learning experience that has a format of a book, but is so much deeper than that. The spotlight on programs, in this case, social and emotional learning, is a 12 interactive ebook set. These books are available for one-time purchase, so one and done. with unlimited simultaneous access across your learning community. So that means students, teachers, librarians, staff, administrators, and parents. So the access is very, very broad. The books in this series, and now I'm starting with social and emotional learning. So we're starting with the heart and the head, then we'll move to the head and the heart with our coding. The books can be purchased as a set, or you can purchase them individually. So there's a huge amount of flexibility in how you would come to this material. The books, and I'm going to open one now, Thoughts and Feelings. And when you open a book, you get to the opening page, to the cover, and then you hit play. And our spotlight on books, as you can see, oh my goodness, there is so much information here. This is not your mother's ebooks. And what our goal is to create fantastic content on a particular topic. In this case, it's one of the 12 books in the Spotlight series on social and emotional learning. And we can look at these books depending on whether our learners, and the social and emotional program is for grades 3 to 7. You can view this whole screen. So if you imagine your classroom environment, and you can also choose to just view the book only. Why is that useful? If your students are they're more emerging readers and they want to you don't want them to have the distractions, you can just look at the text with the photograph and listen. I'm not going to play that now because we are of such limited time. You can navigate through these books, and all the books, and when I get to the coding book shortly, you'll see they're set up in a similar way. You can navigate through the table of contents, the indices, see the primary sources. I'm going to now go back to view all, and all of these books, are richly surrounded and embedded. If you think about scaffolding and understanding with your students, we have a voice-acted read aloud with words defined in context. There's always supporting and extra material, in this case, talking about the Yale Center on Emotional Intelligence, other forms of communication. But one of the secret sauces in these books are the planning guides. I'm going to exit the full screen because I have downloaded the planning guide. The planning guides are anywhere from 50 to 100 pages, and they feature lesson plans and graphic organizers and a range of essential and guiding questions and different activities for you to use. I realize that time is really passing, and so I am going to have to ask myself the essential question of what is my goal for today, and that's to share some of these resources with you. We have at Rosen, we're looking at what it takes to create future-ready students that are college and career ready. But before we can do that, we have to live in the present and create and address the whole child and the whole educator in ways that our students are ready to learn. So we've looked at, just very, very briefly, our spotlight on social and emotional learning, 12 interactive ebooks, all correlated to the CASEL, the Collaborative on Social and Emotional Learning framework, as well as to the Wisconsin Department of Instruction guidelines. We've worked very closely observing what's going on with CS K-12, Computer Science K-12, as well as ISTE standards. And to support these and our students getting the basic skills with plugged and unplugged computer and coding activities. We've developed 2 programs, Spotlight on Kids Can Code for grades 3 through 8, as well as Coding and Computer Science for grades 7 through 12. And the goal of these interactive learning resources are not just to teach the basics of computer science, but to really help our students develop the best of what it means to be a computational thinker. And computational thinking is another way of talking about what we've always discussed. How do you ask good questions? How do you answer those questions? How do you work in a team? How do you work on your own? How do you deal with failure and then move on to success? So the books in these series support the K-12 computer science framework, as well as the ISTE standards, as well as the Wisconsin learning standards. And the focus on the core practices from this K-12 computer science framework is to look at creating an inclusive computing culture, collaborating around computing, and recognizing and defining computing and computational problems. These books also have deep support. And these instructional guides are embedded in every single book in this series. So you get this instructional support and no experience is required. You know, one of the things we all think of ourselves as perhaps social and emotional creatures, but maybe less technically competent. You don't need experience to work with these books because they're deep interactive ebooks and you move with them as your students do. They all contain unplugged activities, and these activities are meant to foster computer thinking without a computer and really create the best practices around communication and social skills and solving real world problems. That's a lot of words, but these books are really lovely. And like the social and emotional learning books, they can be purchased singly or as a group, and they're one-time purchase only. I didn't point out some of the real visual information in the other books, which include an interactive timeline. So if we're looking at different types of learners, how do people make meaning, looking at information in visual context is another way to do that. Like with the social and emotional learning books, these books have voice acted read aloud, video clips, activities, planning guide, lesson plan templates, graphic organizers, and you can navigate through these books in a multiplicity of ways. So I should stop now and ask if there are any questions from this very brief introduction.
If anyone has any questions for Miriam, please feel free to unmute your microphone and speak up, or if you would prefer to type something into the chat window, you can. We'll just kind of leave everything as it is for just a minute or two in case any questions want to come in before we switch gears. Thank you so much, Miriam. That was really informative. I'm super enthusiastic about these resources. They're really cool.
Thank you. Thank you. We've developed those with our advisors and educators with whom we collaborate across North America. So these things really are road tested before we bring them out to the greater community. And we've enjoyed a long collaboration with some of our databases with educators in the state of Wisconsin, and we look forward to expanding that to these different sorts of learning objects and programs.
I'm always really impressed when I see these kinds of resources. I have a school-age child myself, and I'm constantly amazed at the sorts of things that they are showing me that they have access to. It's much different than my recollection of being that age in the 80s.
Indeed, indeed. And I do want to say that every single book has its own lesson plan. So, in addition to being a primer on what the standards are, whether they're the social and emotional learning or computer science standards in grade appropriate ways, there are training wheels with learning activities and pre and post assessments for every single book. So, there really is a lot to get an educator started with these. And fantastic for, in the case of the coding books, for maker spaces, as well as for coding clubs, or just general work within the library for after school activities. And for the social and emotional learning, the lessons can be as short as 10 minutes, the interactive activities. So lesson is a little bit of a, it is a guidepost.
That's really great. Thank you again, Miriam. It doesn't look like we've had any questions come in, so I think we will kind of charge forward onto our next presenter. I'm going to go ahead and make myself the presenter again temporarily. Thank you again, Miriam. And I will repeat, if anyone does have any questions or wants to know more, please feel free to reach out to Miriam or me or Sarah Gold at WiLS. So our next presenter for today's Taco Tuesday session is Fani Koutsovitis. Fani, are you able to unmute your microphone and maybe tell me if I'm at least pronouncing your name properly? I can see that your microphone icon has turned green, but I don't hear your voice.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
There you are.
Sorry, I had actually pressed the mute button on my headset too, so that's why it didn't turn off. Yes, so you are pronouncing my name correctly. Thank you very much.
Great.
I'm going to expect I'll test you on spelling later.
Okay. Well, what I'd like to do now is go ahead and make you the presenter so that we can get kind of your screen up, and then I'll do another little intro just for the purposes of the recording, if that works for you.
Wonderful.
Hopefully you've gotten a thing. Oh, there we go. Okay, we can see your screen. So our next presenter to talk to us today is Fani Koutsovitis from Morningstar, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Fani.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jeff. So I am the Regional Sales Director for our product Morningstar Investment Research Center, which is a database for public and academic libraries. And Morningstar's mission since inception was to help investors make better investment decisions. So we offer a number of resources that are available to you so you can make better informed decisions. Whether you are new to investing or a seasoned investor, there's a lot of content and information available to you through the Morningstar Investment Research Center. So we're going to focus on the educational aspect of the database today. The database is very robust, so a user can come and conduct research on mutual funds, stocks, exchange-traded funds, get market news, commentary, etc. But there's also a wealth of educational content to teach you about investing, about retirement planning, saving for college, etc. So I'd like to point out some of those areas within the database today. So first, I'm going to show you some information under the Help and Education tab on the database. Okay, that's... Sorry about that. A little panic for a second there. So the one area that I'd like to point out first is our investment classroom. This is an area where one can sharpen their investing skills and learn about new topics and information when it pertains to investing. So we have curriculum on stocks, funds, portfolios, and bonds from 100 level courses to 500 level courses. So a user is able to work at their own pace when going through the investment classroom. And the nice thing is that as they go through each of the levels in each of the courses, there is a quiz at the end of each so they can test their investment knowledge. So level 101 under stocks curriculum is something simple as stocks versus other investments. So you'd be able to read through the introduction, get information on what is a stock, why invest in stocks, your investment choices, and the bottom line. And then there's a quiz that you're able to take at the end of the course. As you progress through the levels, when you get to level 500, the content is going to get more complex. So when you're at the 500 level for stocks, it's going to give you information and knowledge about constructing a portfolio, talk about great investors so you can learn about their investing philosophies. So if we wanted to click on constructing a portfolio, you'll see that it's a lot more in depth as the courses progress through. For funds curriculum, similar to stocks, it starts off very basic. Basic is what a mutual fund is. And then as you progress through the levels, it gets more complex. So by the time you get to level 500, it's going to talk about more in-depth topics, avoiding portfolio overlap, when to sell a fund, rebalancing your portfolio. And similar to the other content, there's different sections within each course, and there's a quiz at the end. We also have a glossary section here under help and education that could be very helpful and useful to you. If you come across an investment term that you're not familiar with, you can always come to the glossary and look it up. It's alphabetical. So if you were looking at a stock page and you came across a term like economic moat and you're not familiar with what that could mean, you could always come to the glossary, click on it, select the term, and you'll get a full definition as to what this is, what economic moat for a stock means. If we also go over to the portfolio tab, there are a lot of evergreen papers that our researchers have put together and analysts to help you reach some investment goals. So for instance, under here, investment goals, 30 days to financial fitness, retirement planning. So if we wanted to look at 30 days to financial fitness, we can click on this. These are in PDF format, so you're able to save them or print the entire thing or just sections if you'd like. So there's different weeks that they offer within this booklet, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So kind of getting organized within a 4-week time frame. And these have been put together by our Director of Personal Finance, Christine Benz. So, very simple terms for personal finance, start tracking your expenses and other kinds of information like that within some of these goal primers. We also have some webinars that are more educational based under this portfolio tab. So how to make the most of your 401k, investing well at every life stage. I think a lot of people think that, once they're past a certain age, they can't continue to invest. So it's really great. Our Director of Personal Finance, Christine Benz, does focus on investing even during your retirement. It's called a bucket list approach to retiring. So some of these are in video format or slideshow presentation format, and they're typically 45 minutes to an hour long. Even Basic Investing 101 has been a webinar that we've previously done. Oops. And it might take a minute or two to download. Sorry about that. Well, I will click off on this because I don't know why the security came up. But just to give you an idea, there's a number of webinars and goal primers. And then the other section that we'll look at is our articles and videos section. In this area, like I mentioned, a lot of educational content, market news, but a person to follow if you were interested on the education side for retirement planning and personal finance, as I mentioned, is our Director of Personal Finance, Christine Benz. So you can sort articles by clicking on her name and you'll be taken to a list of articles and videos that Christine has put out. So like I mentioned before, how to get the most from bucket one. This is about retirement planning. Pre-retirees, are you taking too much risk? And it'll let you know under here if it's a video or an article. And then we also do publish some special reports on various topics. So Morningstar's 2019 portfolio tune-up. This is going to provide content on tuning up your portfolio as the new year approaches. And it's kind of something that we did for a week. So there's a number of different articles that then you're able to click through to get to additional content and information. And saving for college is another big topic that we get a lot. So there's a lot of educational content for that as well. Under special report, there's Morningstar's 529 College Savings Report. This is an annual report that we put out. Our investing experts do a lot of research and put out this annual report. And we have about 3 to 5 days where we're posting new content and videos about saving for college, the best 529 college savings plans, and kind of what to look for and expect. So we are going to be offering, if you are interested in exploring the database further and exploring what we've covered today a little bit further, I will be sending information to Sarah and to Jeff with regards to trial access. If you are interested in getting trial access, you can reach out to Jeff or Sarah, or always reach out to me as well. But that concludes my topic for today. I just wanted to show everybody some educational highlights of Morningstar Investment Research Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Fanny. I will extend the same offer as before. If anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask, please feel free to turn on your microphone and ask, or you could drop a question into the chat message. I'll have to find out if my local public library has some of these resources, because I have to admit, like a lot of people, I don't know anything about investing. So this seems like it would be super valuable to somebody like me who's done nothing on this front at all.
Right. Yeah, and I find that our content is very user friendly and reader friendly, so it's geared towards anyone who's not familiar with investing as well. So it's not overcomplicated or complex where you're going to read something and say, I really don't understand. And I think Christine Benz does a really great job of showcasing different areas of personal finance and retirement planning and 529 college savings, etc.
Yeah, that's great. I think I mentioned earlier, this is a lot of personal information, I guess, but I have a little one, so I have to think about how we're going to pay for college in the not too distant future too. Yes. So that's certainly something I should be thinking about now rather than right before.
I know. We'll just wing it. I know we have 2 children, so it's the same thing. They're getting older, and the timeline's shrinking.
Yeah, for me, there's an increasing sense of panic.
Yes.
As time goes on. All right, great. Well, thank you again, Fanny. That was really interesting and super informative. I'm definitely going to be looking into what resources we have locally here where I live.
Okay, wonderful.
Again, if anybody has any questions, needs to know more, please feel free to reach out to me or to Sarah Gold or to Fanny directly. And as she mentioned, we will have some information about trials in the not too distant future as well. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and make myself the presenter again so everyone can see the lineup for today's presenters. And I will ask if Sherry Omernick, are you able to activate your microphone so we can make sure we can hear you?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hi, Sherry. Yes, we can hear you. Thank you so much. Okay, so just like before, I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter, and then I'll do another little intro just so that we can neatly segment the recordings, and you can have your own logo on the screen when I introduce you. So let me
Okay.
get you. You should now see the option to become the presenter. Hopefully that works.
Yeah, let me see
Well,
here. Share. Seems like it's thinking about it.
okay, that's good. That's a good sign.
There, that looks better. Okay.
There we go. Oh, I can see your screen. I can even see your face.
Okay, good. That's a good start.
All right. So let's just for consistency's sake, I will say next up for us today on Taco Tuesday is Sherry Omernek. Hopefully, I'm saying your name right as well, Sherry,
Yes.
from Mackin. Sherry, over to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. I know that some of you have already worked with Mackin. We do a lot of work with WiLS, and we love being part of the organization. And Mackin actually provides a lot of pretty significant discounts for WiLS members. Honestly, when I started, I didn't realize that 7% off of print was as significant as it is. But then as my territory grew and other areas that I serve do not have anything like that, I really realized what a great thing that is. So hopefully a lot of you are already taking advantage of that. A quick introduction is that, again, I'm Sherry. I am your educational consultant. I serve Wisconsin and Illinois. And then I do work a lot with libraries, classrooms, and curriculum, mostly K-12, but then some colleges use us as well. Those two in the picture are my two kiddos, but I also have two stepchildren and one more on the way. So we like to have a very full household. So I call them product testers because I do so much in the makerspace world. Mackin actually is a company that works with a lot of different things. So at our heart, we were always a library company. And then as things progressed, the need came in other areas. So Mackin Via, you might have heard, is a digital content management system. So basically, it's your reader for e-readers. Mackin Maker covers maker space. We also do professional learning, classroom services. We help a lot of schools do funds. We do transform your school library. We work with public libraries. And we also have an awesome new school services option where we actually, if you have Mackin open a new school for you, we will actually put all of the books on the shelves. So we set it up in our home office to make sure that we know exactly what your library will look like. And then from there, we get it all up and running, and we open more school libraries than any other company because of that service. So we are very customizable. So we really focus on individual needs and then also address, of course, the demands of expanding educational communities, which is, of course, ever evolving. We have 3 million print titles, over 2 million ebooks, audiobooks, databases, and we work with 18,000 publishers. We also work with many different vendors. So that way we are a one-stop shop so that you can get all of your educational resources from us. And then we actually work with about 50,000 PK-12 schools. We work with educators and students, and we also do very competitive pricing. We do free processing, free shipping, free collection analysis, free Mackin Via. So we do a lot of free things. We are very proud of our mark records. So if you ever go to a catalog and type something in and think, oh, that's a terrible mark record, I'd like to say that that probably was not Mackin. We have an amazing cataloging team that actually looks at every single mark record and fills it in as necessary. We have a ton of librarians and educational professionals under our roof, and we are based in Burnsville, Minnesota. I just want to show you a quick testimonial. I cannot imagine ever doing business with anyone other than Mackin for any reason. Keep being amazing. So I'm actually, right now, I am at the WINTA conference, and I hear that so often from all the different people that stop in that have just said that the customer service is fantastic, and that's really hats off to that team that is in Minnesota. I am located in Wisconsin, and I'm kind of your person to connect with to get you to that awesome team of librarians. This is on WiLS website to show what the discounts are. So I mentioned that 7% off of print, which is really significant. But there's also prints or 5% off of ebooks as well, which is a nice perk that you have. And anytime you work with us, we make sure that we listen to what you're looking for. We research, we recommend, and deliver what you're looking for. Basically, what we're saying is that we do a lot of customization. So whatever you need, we will be there for you. Mackin Maker is really popular too, so that is our maker space area. And I'm going to show you in a moment, so I'm just going to flip through some of these. I'm actually going to go to mackin.com to show you a couple of my favorite features in there. Okay, so at this screen, Mackin, actually our web team just updated our website this year, so it's a lot easier to search than it was before. It was fine before, but now it's even better. So it has an elastic search. So if I type in something very broad, that is not what I want, type in water, it'll bring up all of these different results for water. Our max is 2,500 items. So then if I come over here, I can refine my results. So it used to be that you had to go back and forth to refine your results. But now you don't have to do that anymore. You can just go to the left. You can choose your reading levels, classifications. You can say, I'm only looking for water books that are in Spanish. So a whole bunch of different things. Anytime you see this little eyeball here, you can actually preview the title, which is really exciting. And then something else librarians and media specialists really, really like is you can go into title lists and you can do review journals. Say that we were looking for school library journal. Assuming you have a catalog in front of you, sometimes you're typing in title by title of what you're looking for. But you can actually click on this issue. So, and even if you don't have a subscription to School Library Journal, you could open it up. You could click just starred reviews, and then you get to see the library journal starred reviews, and I'll choose Best of Mackin. I'll choose a certain interest level. Let's say 5th grade to adult. I hit go, and it makes the shopping super, super easy because now all you have to do is put check marks in all of the titles that you want, and then they'll be added to your list. So that's super fun. And then I also want to show you underneath title lists, you can do a custom list request. And this is where our collection development team really shines. It's a team of the happiest librarians I've ever met. I swear to God, they just love their job. And it's awesome because it really shows through in their work. You can ask them for a list to be curated on just about anything, any topic. So if someone came up to you and said, I'm looking for a very specific reading level in authentic Spanish, can you create the list for me? You can go in and have us do that for free for you. So all you would do is do this custom list request, and then you type in all of your parameters of maybe you have $1,000 to spend, your grade and interest levels, and then you can go ahead and fill that out. You choose your bindings and formats. I always recommend the Mackin bound as much as possible because it's 100% guaranteed as long as the book is in print, which means if anything happens to the binding with all of the circulation, we will replace it. So that's a very fantastic thing. So, but you obviously get to make that decision, so you can rank them however you want. And then when our team is done with it, they'll actually create that list for you, put it in your account. Again, no cost, no obligation. It's just a very great starting point so that you can start looking at what we suggest, and you can add or remove things as necessary. And then I'm going to show you one other thing under title lists. You can go into search all, and then let's choose Wisconsin. And this will bring up the Wisconsin specific title lists that are already created. So you can see awards, your battle of the books, your state reading lists. Let's do awards. You can do current year. Let's do Wisconsin Golden Archer. And you can choose the nominees or the award winners. So we'll just go ahead and click award winners. And then it opens up all of those award winners. So again, you can just put check marks in them. Likewise, if you would have done Battle of the Books or any of those other lists, it would have opened up just like this, and you could have filtered your results over here just like what we did before. And I know that I'm talking really fast. So usually what we do is I will meet with you one-on-one and spend about an hour to go through everything we can do, answer questions. We'll do product training if necessary in makerspace areas. So we can definitely sit down and talk about things in person at a slower pace, if that makes sense. Otherwise, you can always go to this live chat option to talk to our customer service team. They are the Super Minnesota Nice, so we're very well known for that customer service. You could also email us here, or if you call this 800 number, you will get a live person. It will not be a phone tree. So we're happy to help with anything in that library field or books in general. And under services and products, you'll see everything. It looks a little overwhelming, but it's nice to have everything in one place. So you'll see under library services, we have the new school services. So we can do an opening day collection, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. Collection management, that's going to be that team that'll help you create lists and also give you suggestions about your collection. They can help you genreify if that's what you're looking for. We do our standard processing and cataloging, or there are some paid options if you would choose like Capco cover or something like that on your paperbacks. I mentioned genre. We do a lot of services for public libraries. We help funding if necessary. We can set up a fund website. And Mackin Curator is a popular subscription service. So that is, it's not a monthly service. It's actually every 3 months you can receive a new publication or a new book. So, or not a new book, a new book shipment. So based on your areas of interest and your budget, those will come automatically for you. What's really cool is that we will look at your collection to make sure that you don't already have something, so that we don't send you books that you already have in your collection. And Publisher Showcase, we always have some publishers showcased over there. And then the last thing I'm going to touch on really quickly, as I know our time is ending, is under Mackin Maker, there's general information, there's products and kits. So we do a lot of Mackin Maker kits. So those are makerspace items. In Wisconsin, if you're in a school, common school funds will cover makerspace items if they are not consumable. In kits, if there are, in kits, if they are consumable or not consumable, as long as it's in a kit, it will still be covered. Then you would just have to find other funding sources in the future to replenish it if you wanted to. So we can talk more about that. And then the last thing I want to click on is underneath product recommendations. You can fill out a form that will tell our maker experts what you already have in your makerspace, what some of your goals are, and what your budget is, and we will actually make you suggestions based on that and what you might want to put in your makerspace. So we have a team of maker experts that'll help you with that. They'll also find out what you're using for technology and make sure that everything we recommend to you is completely compatible. So that is a whirlwind of Mackin. Hopefully I get to work with some of you soon, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Thanks for inviting me today.
Thank you so much, Sherry. That was really informative. I'm always super impressed with the kind of curation and collection development, value add services, especially for our school librarians and media specialists. I don't have to tell you that they just have too much on their plates in Wisconsin. So anything that we can do to make any member's life easier, but certainly our K-12 libraries, personnel's lives easier is always going to be valuable. So thanks again for sharing that with us. If anybody has any questions for Sherry, please feel free to drop it into the chat or unmute your microphone. But I'm going to go ahead and turn myself back into the presenter again temporarily while we queue up our fourth and final presenter here. Again, thank you, Sherry. So for our last slot for today's Taco Tuesday, we've got Jay Hess from EBSCO. Jay, I see your icon has gone green. Could you say something so we know we can hear you?
Hi, Jeff. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Jay. Great. Okay, so Jay, just like the other three presenters, I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter, and then I'll do another little intro just for the purposes of our recording, so that we can get your voice over your screen. Hopefully, you'll see on your screen soon a little thing to become the presenter. Let me know if that doesn't come through. Oh, great. There we go. All right. So today, our fourth presenter today in Taco Tuesday is Jay Hess. She's coming to us from EBSCO to talk to us about their magazine archives. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Jay.
Thanks, Jeff. Welcome, everyone. My name is Jay Hess, and I work in the academic space in Wisconsin for EBSCO. And I'm going to talk about our wonderful archive loyalty program that we're offering exclusively through WiLS. And I'll just start by saying that EBSCO has entered the archive arena, and we consider ourselves an aggregator for historical archives, and then for single digital magazine archives, which is what I'll be speaking about today. I'm going to jump in because I'm the last, and I'm sure everybody's ready to go. But I just wanted to mention the titles that are included in this archive loyalty program. I've organized them by areas of study. So first up is the business subject area. And three of the titles are Business Week, Forbes, and Fortune. And as you can see at the bottom of each cover, we include these titles from their inception to about the time that Masterfile or Academic Search Premier pick up in BadgerLink. I also like to mention that these may be business titles that you already own in print. So how fantastic to be able to offer these to your users and faculty in a digital format where you can have unlimited users per title. In the area of multi-discipline, we have Time, which is a very popular magazine, and probably most of you probably still have that in print. We also have U.S. News and World Report, and that includes U.S. News when it was U.S. News, and World Report when it was World Report, and then when the two married in the 1940s. And then the Architectural Digest. Along with Life from 1936 to 2000, People from 1974 to 2000, and Sports Illustrated from 1954 to 2000. Lastly, I'll mention our new titles in the last 18 months. We've added Esquire to the mix, Maclean's, which is the U.S. News and World Report Canadian equivalent, The Atlantic, which is our largest run from 1857 to 2014, And Vanity Fair is this year's latest edition, and as you can see, the run is from 1913 until 1936, and then it begins again at 1983 to 2015. This is not embargoed or halted. The title actually ceased to be published after the Depression and then began again in 1983. And as many of you are probably looking forward to reading this summer, digital archives are a great way to replace those print copies, save yourself shelf space. It also gives you full runs where you might have missing or lost or stolen issues as well. From a subject perspective, if you have a subject area of business interest in digital archives, we do archive, or we index from cover to cover. So we've got your covers, your table of contents, your photographs, and your advertisements. So it'd be very easy, for example, to do research on a particular advertiser like I've shown here, Lincoln Mercury, and shown it through the multi-magazine titles as well as through time, and that wasn't a pun, I meant through time, the 1900s through the 1920s to the 1990s. Another way you can consider using the archives is through the research area of gender and women's studies, and you can see how we've progressed through the decades on gender equality, body image in media, women in sports, and women in politics. And then in the area of political science, what elections have looked like through different coverage in different titles and through time, political leaders, government policies, ethnic and racial studies, civil rights, discrimination, race relations. And then I just wanted to highlight the Atlantic, since it's such a large, it's the largest title that's offered in this archive program. Just wanted, if you're looking for primary sources, you can see some of the illustrious authors that are included in the Atlantic magazine who've written original material, like Mark Twain, Gertrude Stein, Harriet Beecher Stowe, Martin Luther King Jr. And again, our newest member is Vanity Fair. And we talk about the publication being ceased for a period of, looks like 40 plus years. But this is a key title for literary studies, marketing and advertising, and photography. And as you can see, even the covers have progressed through time. So it started out as this iconic artwork, and eventually now, as Vanity Fair covers as we know them, are basically photography of iconic figures. So you're probably all excited to know, what does the program look like? So with archives, you make a one-time purchase and you actually own the archive and title. And through WiLS, we're able to offer an exclusive program. And right out of the gate, if you buy one title, you receive 35% off. If you buy 2 to 3 titles, you receive 40% off. If you buy 4 to 6 titles, you receive 45% off. And if you buy 7 or more titles, you receive 50% off. And I'm sure you're probably thinking, Jay will never purchase 7 or more titles at one time. But the beauty of the loyalty program is that if you buy a title this year, receiving 35% off, you can build upon your discount. So your second year, if you buy an additional title, you'll receive that 40% off. And as always, we're offering trials and pricing through our partnership with WiLS, so you would need to contact Jeff Bruner for those. And if you have any product or content questions, you can contact me, Jay Hess, at jhess@ebsco.com. Back to you, Jeff.
Thank you so much, Jay. I know you mentioned this, but one of the things that I really like about these kinds of programs is the space savings. I know that every library is thinking about how to make the most out of the space that they have. And as more and more move towards, usable study rooms or multi-purpose spaces or collaborative workspaces, eyeing those shelves of magazine archives, I think, is becoming a very common practice. So I love the idea of being able to still provide the content that's so valuable, especially for those programs in the humanities and social sciences, but also being able to knock down some shelves and put in a cool collaborative workspace. So I love that idea, and hopefully some of our members will think about it. So if anybody has any questions or feedback for Jay right now, please feel free to speak up or drop it into the chat window. But I'll echo what she said, in that you can feel free to follow up with me or Jay with any kind of questions that you might have. We can get price quotes and trials set up for you. So with that, I will go back to sharing my screen. I don't know if I'm sharing it properly right now or not. Hopefully you guys can see my screen here. I am happy. Here we go. I'm back. I think I'm back to being the presenter now. There we go. Okay. So thank you all for coming to today's session. We really like putting these things on. Hopefully you found them to be really interesting and helpful. Please feel free to reach out to any of our presenters directly or to us. I'll take this opportunity to remind you that we're trying to drive some email towards our co-op at wils.org email address, just for kind of consistently getting as much of our co-op email through one address as possible. So please feel free to reach out there. And we hope to see you next month for our Taco Tuesday potluck edition. So you may remember that on the even numbered months, we're doing our vendor partner Taco Tuesday sessions, but on the odd numbered months, we will be doing potluck editions. And like any good potluck, the content comes from the attendees. So this next month on May 7th, we will be talking about interlibrary loan systems. So this is a new kind of idea that came up, I think, last year, to let members kind of show off some of the tools they use in carrying out their day-to-day work. And so in May, what we will be focusing on are interlibrary loan systems. So we've already got some speakers lined up to talk to us about Iliad and some other systems, just to give your ILL people a chance to see how other libraries approach those tasks and those services. So stay tuned for more information about that as it becomes available. And I will say again, thank you to all of our presenters for being here today. I thought it was a really great session. And thank you to our attendees for coming out. And we will be sending along the recordings in a little while. Okay. I think that's it for today, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to Taco Tuesday. I hope you have a great rest of your day and week. So long.